My glasses are in the other room. I just didn't even care to wear them tonight. So, welcome to our first award show podcast, which we are talking about the just completed 2019 Golden Globe Awards. Hello, everyone. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, we have Ashley.
Can't tell you why I'm smiling. Oh, wait, I could, but we'll get to that.
Yes. And AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, we do this little competition every single year, and the start of every single year is basically this award show, and we go all the way into the Oscars, and we determine who's better at predicting. Well, tonight, Ashley beat everybody like a drum.
It was that British bias that came through for him.
That's a shoot.
Well, to be honest, I think I've now realised I just follow what the critics say.
Probably not a bad idea.
Especially when we get to like a few of the awards that Owen was like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because it's the critics."
And like it said on Twitter tonight, that it doesn't really matter what the Hollywood Foreign Press says because none of these people are in the Academy.
Yeah, but I honestly think some of them are unlike some years when it's like they're gonna win all year through.
Right.
And some here I feel confident about that could do a clean sweep across all of them. But there's other ones where I'm thinking this could be the Sylvester Stallone from like 2 years ago.
I see that. Mr. Top Hat,
the random one.
As far as voters not matching, there was also the thing where like you kind of get used to going by the cheers when the nominations are announced, but then when you hear that, you're like, "Oh yeah, none of those people cheering voted." So, but then there's also the whole thing where even if it's not the same group of voters, it's still like I remember a big case for this was Ali at SAG when he won for Moonlight.
Right.
I was getting that vibe from Glenn Close, where it's like you could just kind of count the votes they were getting as their speech went on. So there's that.
So Mr. Top Hat gets the first comment in chat tonight that says, "And here comes Bohemian Rhapsody with the steel chair." Accurate.
My God.
Extremely accurate. So, yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later. So let's talk about the abysmal failure that was Andy Samberg and Sandra Oh as hosts of this beginning monologue that went on way too long and pushed this show almost 30 minutes over its run.
When it got towards the end of their first segment, did you see the terror in their eyes because they knew how it was going?
You could tell Sandra Oh was like, I don't know if I really want to keep going on with this. And Samberg was like, yeah, let's keep on doing it. Fine. Doesn't matter anymore. There's a lot of things that were said that I don't think even Bruce Valanche would write properly. And if he's the one behind this, then no. Ed Harris has a job for him selling lemons on the side of the road in California next to his orange selling business.
Sadly, we didn't keep the credits on at the end to find out who wrote this shit. The
Bookers of World Wrestling Entertainment. That's exactly who wrote it.
The best thing that probably could have happened is the bloody NFL game that was on before it went to overtime. So they literally just cut out the 20-minute bloody start and just got on with the awards. But then again, the other major issue is how many bloody adverts do we need?
Well, you have to make your money somehow. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be ratings. So needless to say, you're going to have to do something. So, yeah, that's basically what we had. Is we had a lot of commercials and an almost 30-minute overrun that didn't need to be there. Wait a minute.
Well,
it is WWE. Wow.
Applause, please. Applause.
Exactly.
You blame the opening monologue, but let us not forget both Regina King and Peter Farrelly successfully shut down the orchestra.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to talk about something political. Oh, shit, turn the music down, bitches.
When you get Jurassic Parked, you get Jurassic Parked, okay? And that does not mean you can get away from that. Kind of reminds me when they tried to do that to Bridges a couple of years ago with Crazy Heart.
No,
It's like, nope, that isn't happening.
No, they Chris Pratted them from Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. Their hand was in the lava. They pulled it out. It was perfectly fine.
Forget not, I did not see that movie.
You don't need to.
You didn't miss much. The best bit was the dinosaur on the pier going, "Oh, one on the boat," and then it died. That was the best bit.
Wow.
That
Okay.
bit made me cry.
Well, the fact that I just literally watched the playback of Ashley going, that was just funny to me right there.
Clip it, everybody. I want it in the highlights.
Oh, dear God. And I just watch myself do that. Yeah, I don't want to do that ever again on camera. So, the moral of today's story is, well, you don't know what's real anymore because there's a lot of things that made no sense today. So, let's talk about everything one by one. We went to Best Actor in a Comedy Series first. Congratulations to Michael Douglas. AJ prognosticated that and did not go with it.
I'm still holding that paper where I marked his name.
Priceless.
Sorry, the piece of paper, the piece of paper says Moonlight. So you know,
Shut up.
not like
Why are you? You're not allowed to talk anymore. I may not be wearing glasses, but you're not allowed to talk anymore.
I was starting to suspect Carrie a little bit when he got like his own opening act or whatever you want to call that.
That was probably one of the only things that was worth anything in the entire opening monologue. But I mean, it was there. It's just they died 1,000 deaths when it came to like no comedy at all when it came to this entire night. It just didn't work at all. It was just terrible.
It's because
we all
have a surprise appearance from Teddy Perkins. That's what was the problem.
We all lost. So AJ went with Sacha Baron Cohen, and Ashley and myself went for Jim Carrey. So yeah, Michael Douglas, congratulations. Best animated feature. Kind of a surprise, but not really if you really think about it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse wins.
You could kind of feel the love in the room for Spider-Man too.
I know I say the Annies mean absolute jack, and they usually do, but I think this actually might make me believe that Into the Spider-Verse could be an Oscar-winning movie by the time we get around to next month.
Which in a hell of an awful year for Sony. They're going to cling the fuck onto that, aren't they?
Yeah. Carrie did mention that Sonic the Hedgehog is officially done filming, so we have that. There's Mr. Top Hat. Yes, is this the real life or is this fantasy? So many Bohemian Rhapsody references. We'll get to those later. Don't worry.
Oh, by the way, did you guys happen to see like all the? I don't know exactly how you watched it, but did you see all the advertisements? There were like 3 different commercials that played Queen songs throughout the whole night. And just kind of jokingly, I thought, is this an omen? Having no idea it actually was.
I mean, every year we should realize that omens are a shoot because it happens every single year. And when it comes to the Golden Globes, and we always negate it being true, but it's always there, staring us right in the eye.
So you're telling me that next year Good Omens is going to win everything?
So yeah, AJ, you were thinking that they would be extremely predictable and go with The Incredibles 2, and they didn't. And no love for Isle of Dogs, so then we get a TV actor and the win for Ashley with Richard Madden for Bodyguard.
Just fucking watch it. That's all I want to say. It's ridiculous.
Ashley's first point. AJ went with Matthew Reese for The Americans, and I went with Jason Bateman for Ozark, based upon absolutely nothing. AJ probably knows a little more than I do. Well, actually, I'm sure he knows a little bit more than I do. No? Okay.
I wouldn't overestimate that.
The cool guy says, "What the hell just happened?"
Remember when the nominations came out and Bohemian Rhapsody was the weird nomination?
No, it wasn't.
Well, yeah,
I've had faith in that movie since August.
Yeah, but before a SAG ensemble nomination and a PGA nomination.
You realize at this point, Bohemian Rhapsody is top. It's definitely top 6, top 7. But I don't know if it's top 5 or not. But it's definitely there.
Hard to tell since it's never in a million years getting a director nomination.
No, not at all.
Then again, you know, we had The Favourite and The Green Book, which are arguably dramas in musical and comedy. And Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star Is Born in drama when they're probably musical.
I mean,
so a musical or comedy and a drama still both won, just in the
wrong categories, right?
They stuck them in the wrong category. They're doing it in honor of Get Out and bloody Martian.
So Ashley, we went to Best TV Drama next, which you went with Killing Eve.
Yeah.
And AJ and I went with The Americans and got a point to tie it up.
First time it had ever won.
We kind of should have known. Like, I knew I kind of felt I was jumping the gun a little bit by just saying they're going to go completely Americans in both acting and series.
Right.
Yeah, just giving it series does kind of make up for it just as a whole. So I should have had a feeling they were going that direction, but I got way too confident in it.
We move on to
It's
Best
also
Supporting
weird that they classify Bodyguard as a series when it's like 6 episodes.
That's still a series.
Yeah, but Sharp Objects is 10, isn't it? Or 8?
I think it's 8.
So that's considered a mini series. What's the fucking difference?
Accurate. Best Supporting Actor in a Television Series. And Ashley gets it with Ben Whishaw for A Very English Scandal.
Which I'm surprised with, in all honesty.
AJ, of course, went with the Fonz. And I went with Alan Arkin, which, based upon what happened the rest of the night, is surprising he didn't win.
Yeah, this tonight just kind of said "fuck you" to Barry all over.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, nothing. Despite all the critical acclaim for it, and it's them that voted for it.
Speaking of saying F you to somebody, we'll get to that in a minute. The start of it, Best Actress in a Television Movie. Patricia Arquette for Escape of Dannemora, which Ashley found out for the first time, as we all did, that Ben Stiller directed it.
Oh, you guys didn't know that?
I knew it had acclaim and people were saying you should watch it. I never realized it was him that did it. It's like most of these, like, okay, it's not a pilot, but like when you look at some of the like TV pilots, that the first episode is directed like somebody big. Like, yeah, who directed the first ever episode of Columbo? I'm doing trivia for the chat as well, apparently.
I was hoping you were going to say something like Boardwalk Empire, because I do know that one.
No. It's a big name. The first Columbo was directed by Steven Spielberg.
That makes sense, honestly. You really think about it, that actually makes sense.
So it's just stuff like that. So it's like... But it was weird at the same time. It's like, wait, he's on stage presenting the award. Is it that? Then again, we saw that later on in the night, which got weird as well. But I'm surprised that Amy didn't get it, considering how much love Sharp Object was getting. Although I was going to say it walked away empty-handed, but it didn't. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So, Patricia Arquette, of course, gets the victory on the same night, the same weekend, that her brother gets to shave Joe Stevens' head in WA action. I got to bring it up, of course. It's me we're talking about here. Carol Burnett Award was phenomenal. I can't wait to see who gets it next year. It was amazing that they gave it to her. The stuff is Steve Carell.
The introduction with like Jack Nicholson stuff for Carell.
Yeah, that was so random.
Again, I question who wrote this and how much Xanax they'd taken from a scale of 100 to 10 million.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't get into screenplay at the Oscars, which who knows if he will at this point, it honestly would give something for Bo Burnham to do, to start writing bits for people at award shows.
By the way, did Elsie Fisher look like she was on the verge of crying like all night?
Yeah.
Or was I the only one that noticed that?
Well, you know, let's be honest, you know, she's pretty young. She's surrounded by God knows how many bloody stars, apart from Meryl Streep, who didn't bother to show up. So, yeah, I'd be overcome with like, oh my God, it's that person. Oh my God, it's that person.
And Mr. Top Hat says Antonio Banderas was robbed of the Carol Burnett Award.
Did you see Life Itself?
Wow.
You know Life Itself must be good because Sky are distributing it here in the UK. Not any major like distributor. Sky. The people that brought you Hurricane Heist.
That's one step away from being the National Lottery. That's quality right there. So, yeah, it was awesome. Obviously, you guys know I don't watch television now because how can I? I don't have any access to it. But I will state that I did grow up on television, and I know my television roots. And I was very happy to see Carol Burnett getting the award. That was cool.
Also, you actually beat AJ on TV, Owen.
Oh, that's a first.
Yeah, unless I miscounted, I got 1 point in TV, I think, for the Americans.
You got 1, Owen got 2, I got 4. Or, you know, but when I looked at previous years, I've done much better in TV than I actually did with than 4. So I'm sort of happier that for the stuff we actually care about in terms of movies, I did pretty good as well.
Speaking of movies, let's get a best score. So we all lost. Justin Hurwitz takes it for First Man.
It's a little weird how unsurprising that is, despite First Man's lack of appearances, including PGA.
Yeah, I don't know how that how that happened at this point. But I'm starting to believe that a lot of the movies that got into PGA may not make it into the Oscar lineup, so we'll see. There's always a few every single year. I think that that's going to happen again this year. It just depends on what the lineup's going to be and how many movies they go with. I don't know, for some reason, something like the number 7's jumping out at me this year for picture nominees.
If Beale Street could talk, is going to have to pull a Phantom Thread to get in.
At this point, yes. But the fact that we have 9 on our list makes it guaranteed that we're going to at least have a better chance to have all of the pictures in there.
And then they say, we have 12. And it's like, what?
No, I can't see that happening this year. Best original song. Oh, sorry.
Isn't there a limit of 10?
No, there is a limit of 10.
I love how sincerely you said, I don't see that happen.
I should have said they're going to be 46.
Yeah, Goranson for Black Panther was what AJ went. Well, long day. Ashley went with. AJ went with Mark Scheinman for Mary Poppins Returns, and I went with Alexander Desplat for Isle of Dogs. We all lost.
Quite a lot of categories throughout the entire night. We got none of them.
That's a shoot.
Even when in some of them we went for 3 different ones, so it was like there was a 60% chance of us getting it right. Still didn't.
And these are these categories where we said, well, it's never going to be this, and that's what wins. That's just how it works sometimes when you're predicting things. Best original song, to the surprise of absolutely no one, Shallow wins.
Practically, I'd say a shoe-in for the Oscar.
Oh, yeah. First Man was always a lock-in score for me. If Chazelle knows one thing, it's music. He knows a lot of things, Mr. Top Hat. That's why he's such a force to be reckoned with.
He knows how to do shit with IMAX cameras.
Yeah. I will state right now that an interesting thing is Gaga, of course, still going for the EGOT. And tonight, she got a little bit further away from it, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Well, no, she technically. Why are you saying further away?
I mean, she's not. Well, she lost actress tonight, so I mean, she's getting a little bit further away.
She wrote Shallow, so she wins one.
Does it matter? So does it matter exactly what the award is as long as they win one?
Yeah.
Well, that's a guarantee then. So there you go. It's coming sooner rather than later. I'm telling you, I said Gaga to do Frozen, and that didn't end up happening. So we need to do something with her in Broadway immediately. So, Best Supporting Actress. Yeah. For all the people that doubted Regina King, she's back in this sucker.
That's the thing, though, is her speech is definitely going to help her and get her a shitload of votes.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it is so weird how much the guilds are turning away from that movie altogether. It's really bizarre.
I'm at the point thinking she might be the only thing it gets.
Nomination-wise?
Maybe. It depends on how many movies are in picture this year.
Adapted screenplay, I would think at least.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, unless it's assuming it's eligible for WGA, if it doesn't show up at WGA, something's definitely off.
Yeah.
Because of the way that Barry does stuff, possibly cinematography as well.
Mm.
Although that is looking like a tough thing with some of the other films that could be in contention for it. So,
to be fair, AJ, I forgot about screenplay, so that's. But yeah.
But I just keep going back to the whole Phantom Thread thing. Is there's going to be a Phantom Thread? It's just, and there's no other movie it could be except for Beale Street Could Talk. It's I don't think it's First Man anymore.
No, I think it might be out of picture contention. We'll see though. So speaking of that, so we went with Amy Adams, who went 0 for 2 tonight. I do not want an American Hustle repeat. Please, God, don't let that happen again. And Ashley went with Rachel Weisz for The Favorite.
This
that
whole thing I said about Amy Adams is going to start here and go the rest of the way. I'm almost wondering if there's a race at SAG now too, that with Regina King not there, because now it just kind of feels like it's all everywhere.
Yeah, I think SAG is going to be very interesting to see who's going to be the one who faces Regina King for the title, actually, at the Oscars.
Seconds out. Ding, ding.
But then again, when it comes to like industry awards like the guilds, it does feel like there's much more of a method to it than, say, the Globes, which just feel like totally random.
True. Beale Street's a front runner for adapted screenplay, says Murphy Boy. Is Regina King still winning supporting actress?
She got,
to be honest,
it's a nice boost.
Go ahead, AJ.
That speech got her a lot of votes, I guarantee.
Totally.
And remember, next week is Critics' Choice, where they go head to head.
She's probably pretty safe for Critics' Choice, Regina King is.
So yes, we're going to move forward. And
next up.
Well, so Mr. Top Hat brings it up for Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez for Frozen. They won their Emmy for Wonder Pets. So EGOT can come from anywhere. So there's clarification right there.
Mm-hmm.
So we are moving on to Best Actress in a Television Drama. Sandra Oh for Killing Eve. Thank you, Ashley. I don't know.
Something, even though it probably should have gone to Jodie Comer as well.
I mean, after that wonderful performance we have of that opening monologue and the rest of her hosting duties, I would have just taken it away from her at this point, no matter how good her body of work is.
For the rest of the night.
Yeah, but
she carried it around.
After their performance, would you give any awards ever to Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph?
That was horrible.
for disrespecting Alfonso Cuarón.
I honestly think at this point, Tyler Perry was the most prophetic statement of the night, saying, so basically everybody wondering if everybody's as drunk here as they think they are. And Tyler Perry's like, yes, they are. Yes, we are. I buy it. I buy it 100%. And of course, AJ went with Kerry Russell, and I went with Julia Roberts. Best Supporting Actor went to Mahershala Ali for Green Book, which got you guys a point. And I went with the Hail Mary shot of Adam Driver for Black Klansman.
But as we were saying before, this is obvious. A lot of this probably has to do with the fact that he didn't win here for Moonlight. So
yeah,
this is like by no means the start of a sweep, as far as we know.
It's like we're making up for Creed 2 years ago.
So we'll see where this goes from here. Best Screenplay went to Peter Farrelly for Green Book.
All right, this is like really eerie.
Okay.
When you're doing predictions, do you often try to imagine them on the stage?
Sometimes.
When I was thinking about the fact that Green Book could have taken this when I was imagining it, Peter Farrelly looked exactly like he actually was. He was the one holding the globe, and he was on the far right of the screen. That's exactly how I saw it.
Wow.
And I didn't go with it, which I clearly should have, because that was such a prophetic image in my head. But no, I was like, oh no, they're going to give it to Adam McKay, even though I'm not predicting him to get an Oscar nomination anymore. I don't know what the fuck that was about. I took that Aaron Sorkin thing way too far.
I don't know if McKay's going to get in director or not. I'd like to know DGA lineup before I make my freaking Oscar picks.
If we're talking about the possibility of him getting snubbed in screenplay, he's very far away from getting in director.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder at this point. So Ashley went for The Favorite, and we went for Vice for McKay. So yeah, nope, didn't happen.
They liked Green Book a lot.
Yeah, they did, clearly. So Best Supporting Actress in Television went to Patricia Clarkson for Sharp Objects.
I don't know why she's barely in it. Of course, I'm just kind of anti-Sharp Objects altogether because I felt like it was such a waste of 8 hours, and I'm still kind of bitter. I watched the whole damn thing, but yeah.
Big Life Series 2 coming soon.
So Ashley went with Tandy Newton for Westworld. AJ went with Penelope Cruz for American Crime Story, The Assassination of Johnny Versace. And I went for Alex Borstein for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. All of us were wrong. Keep that in mind. Best Supporting Actor, AJ, mark out Bale, and it's over. Happens again.
Try actor in a comedy.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I said.
You said supporting actor.
I was reading, because my thing says supporting actor in a comedy film, because I'm tired. It literally said best supporting actor in a comedy film. That's what I wrote down.
Lin-Manuel Miranda and Robert Redford couldn't be asked to show up.
Shock surprise. So yeah, Bale wins Best Actor again, so he's moving towards Oscar contention. He's got to beat someone else, though, who I like to see wins. We'll see. We'll get to that. Foreign language film went to Roma. Shock surprise. Best Actor in a Television Movie went to Darren Criss. Surprisingly. I was the only one to get that point. Antonio Banderas.
Should have gone for it.
What'd you say, AJ?
So it's funny you say surprisingly when you're the one that picked.
I wasn't thinking I'd be right. Darren Criss sporting a nice jacket that looked like it'd be on someone's seat covers. I mean, seriously. Pretty sure I saw someone's car in 1975, I wasn't alive, with those exact seat covers. So yeah.
It was in a scene for American Graffiti.
Yeah, close enough. Antonio Banderas for Genius Picasso, and Ashley went with Hugh Grant for A Very English Scandal. The Cecil B. DeMille Award went to Jeff Bridges. That was phenomenal, as always. Anytime we get to see Jeff Bridges is wonderful.
The Sam Elliott video package.
I love the video package, especially with Sam Elliott with his voiceover. That was phenomenal.
Not to mention, not that I'm complaining or anything, but I love how we're totally not going to mention Bridges when we talk about the things that took us over time.
Nah, he's fine.
He gets a pass.
Okay.
He had didn't he have sort of a similar talking time and length though to Carol?
Yeah.
I felt like by like the third time he brought the tag thing back, I was like, this is gone for a little while. Once again, not that I'm complaining.
Perhaps he secretly wanted Tag to get in the Oscars this year. I don't know.
Top Hat was glad that Surf's Up ended the montage. And he says Bale's his pick to win right now.
It was hilarious because it seemed like they had the perfect ending to that montage, and then they just put the final cherry on top with the Surf's Up clip.
So good. I'm okay with that. That was phenomenal. Great way to spend some time. Best Director, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. I should not have been shocked at all. I went with Adam McKay. Nope. Best Actor.
Cooper.
I thought I went back and I thought I said Cooper, but no, I said McKay.
Hmm.
I put a lot of love into American Hustle. Vice. I may not make that mistake again. Best Actress in a Comedy Television Series. Deborah Messing remains a bridesmaid and never a bride.
And to slap her in the face, they gave it to the person they just gave it to.
Yeah, last year, so she wins 2 years in a row. Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
First time in about a decade that this was gone 2 straight years to the same person.
Wow. And Ashley and myself went with Alison Brie for Glow. Did not happen. Best Comedy Television Series went to The Kaminsky Method. We all had Barry. We all were wrong.
So my theory was totally off about this being different from the movie awards, where the later you come out, the less of a chance you have. I guess we're done with that now.
Apparently. Like I said earlier, it's surprising just reading back and looking at what other things Kaminsky Method won. I'm kind of surprised Alan Arkin didn't win. So they could have went 3 for 3. Best television miniseries went to American Crime Story, which AJ and I had Sharp Objects, and Ashley had A Very English Scandal. We move on to Best Actress in a Comedy for Olivia Colman for The Favorite, which you guys went with, and I went with Emily Blunt. Nope, didn't happen.
Knowing for a certainty that it was going to happen does in fact not numb the pain. I learned.
How's that?
Because it hurt to see her lose. What the fuck do you think I mean?
So you're also reveling in the fact that you may have to watch her job out twice during the SAGs.
Don't think I didn't already think it through. And much like Elsie Fisher, was I imagining things or did it look like she was about to cry?
Again.
Her.
Well, then again, she did get stuck with the, what was it, the Emmys, where Jim Parsons went out with Bob Newhart, and Bob Newhart got this enormous standing ovation, and Jim Parsons just had to awkwardly stand there. She had to deal with that with the Dick Van Dyke standing ovation.
That is true.
I like to think it was half for her also, but yeah.
Dick Van Dyke is a national treasure. No one tell me otherwise.
I don't think anybody's going to even try to tell you otherwise.
Smart move. Best comedy went to Green Book.
I had totally forgotten when Bill Murray said he had a lot of friends in the category. It's like, I don't know if Peter Farrelly's already in drama so deeply with one movie or not, but I like totally missed the Kingpin connection until they were on stage together, and then it clicked with me. I mean, Osmosis Jones also, but
yeah, of course.
Kingpin, obviously.
So I went with Vice. That was a mistake. Ashley went for The Favorite, which seemed a little bit more like a lock, but it went to Green Book, so they really liked Green Book here at the Globes for sure. Best Actress in a Drama went to Glenn Close for The Wife. I was not expecting that at all.
She clearly wasn't either.
No.
So once again, I felt like there was going to maybe be a bit of a battle here. But once again, on top of her veteran status and her all those nominations without a win status, on top of that speech she gave, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at a sweep. And I know I always get way too ahead of myself when I talk about that, but yeah. So that whole thing where I was afraid it was going to bite me in the ass going towards her after I was saying her movie's too off the radar, she won't even get nominated, all that way back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the way everybody saw it at the beginning, where everybody had her towards the top. She's definitely got herself back up there.
Or maybe this is the only thing she wins. Could go that way too. We don't know. We'll know in about what, a week is our next.
I think she's going to be close. She could be close to, no pun intended, to rivaling Coleman maybe for the favorite, because it is although it's predominantly English European project. It's quite a lot of it was actually filmed in Scotland, so there's a lot of British stuff actually connected to that. So
it will be interesting to see Close and Coleman compete at SAG and see what happens. But I don't think I need to say this because it's so obvious, but obviously if Close wins SAG, I think this category might be over. Even if, like Coleman could probably easily take BAFTA, giving her competition, but I would say, yeah, but obviously that's getting ahead, so.
Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say Close wins Globe, Gaga wins SAG, Coleman wins BAFTA. Who wins the Oscar?
The veteran with all those nominations under her belt that gave that speech at the Globes probably has the upper hand, I would say. But I don't say that with extreme confidence, especially with how fucking poorly I did tonight. So
we'll get to that. Don't worry, because you didn't do as bad as I did, sir.
That's true.
I sucked horribly this night. Best actor in a drama, Rami Malek, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yes.
I changed my mind last night because I just kind of got this urge, so I went to see if the Live Aid scene was on YouTube yet.
Right.
And it's like a sideways bootleg. But as a sideways bootleg, it's still impactful. It still is. And I was like, I should have really gone with him.
Is this on YouTube?
Yes.
Send me a link. I want to watch it on my smart television in the living room.
There's the sideways bootleg, and then there's the one where the guy did the side-by-side with the real footage.
Oh, that's even better.
So I cannot wait to get my hands on that Blu-ray that has the full Live Aid performance recreated.
Nice.
I will watch that till my fucking Blu-ray player breaks.
I'm very happy knowing that there's a good possibility at this point. Not a possibility, but there is a chance that we're actually looking at an Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah, I was too busy fanboying, despite the fact that I lost the point. I didn't care. There was no Bryan Singer mentioned, right?
No, Dexter Fletcher.
I wondered how he'd go around that. It sort of, weirdly enough, reminded me of when Ewan McGregor won for Fargo, and it was like, is he going to thank his wife or is he not? Something we will not hear him in any potential speeches that hopefully Rami Malek will continue to be giving. So
yes. Malek can win SAG and BAFTA. It's over for Cooper.
God,
it's very, very possible.
If he sweeps, that would be so incredible. I want to see that so badly.
I want this to happen now. I remember in August when Bohemian Rhapsody was just one of those things like, really? You put it on there? And I was like, yeah, it makes sense to me. And then now we're here, which we have to give our final Oscar predictions at the end of this month, actually in a couple weeks. And it seems more like a certainty that not only is it here, it's contending for victory right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there. It's not something that it's not like bottom 5 or anything. It's not like bottom 3 or anything like that. Now it's depends on how many we go with.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, it's got what the picture's like a certainty now, nomination wise.
Yep.
Obviously, he's in. I would say costume design.
Yeah.
Maybe
Art direction.
maybe the sounds.
Sounds, yeah.
Is that it? Am I missing anything? Because that's not that many for something that seems like such a major player. But I guess we'll find out.
It won't get in screenplay or director. No, it could get in screenplay.
Is there word on where it would be in screenplay? Which one?
Do I have it anywhere?
Because it's got a lot of obstacles in our original.
Do I have it in original screenplay? I think I do.
I can't remember if we ever determined which one it would even be in.
I was looking on what everybody else was saying, obviously, because I have no way of knowing for sure. I mean, it could go either way if it's.
Well, because there isn't sort of like a written book or anything, I guess it would technically be original.
Here it is. Yeah, it would have to really fight hard to get original screenplay. Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, you have to go with Tech Awards. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of at this point because Bohemian can't win without a screenplay nomination. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to win Best Picture, but I definitely think it's a huge contender. Whoever wins at SAG will probably be second Regina King. Yeah, that's likely. When did Sam Rockwell, like, the look of Sam Rockwell is, like, so different now.
He's doing that Fosse thing.
That makes sense then.
I can tell you that Bohemian Rhapsody is not liked on Twitter.
Who gives a fuck about Twitter?
Yeah, but no, there's like, hey, Esquire, publish that Bryan Singer article right now. Hollywood and Bryan Singer's allegations are brought up, and then it's Sandra Bullock in Bird Box. Other people saying
they know he was fired, right?
And
that's like trying to.
But of course, he's still the named director.
But there's also that thing where a lot of people are. There's a lot of like the whole misdirected outrage that's been going on, like the whole. I think it was just today there was that street artist that put like what looked like an Oscar flyer up, and it was a picture of Kevin Hart, and it said the Academy has no heart, like Kevin Hart. But it's like it's not the Academy that's saying don't do it. He's deciding not to do it, and it's like people need to really look at what they're talking about before they jump to those conclusions.
Right.
But you can very easily imagine a fucking smear campaign for Bohemian Rhapsody coming, despite the fact that he was fucking fired. It may not have been for what he probably, what people think he might have been fired for, but still, because wasn't it just basically that he just kind of stopped showing up and was like, just really hard to work with, and they said, fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after they fired him, it then came out about all the allegations against him.
Of course, those have been around for like ever.
Smurfy Boy stated if Bohemian Rhapsody fought with 8th Grade and First Reformed for the last spot in original screenplay. I mean,
8th Grade's not even on my radar in screenplay anymore. I'll be really surprised if he somehow manages to get in there.
I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I may just be showing my cards, but I might have to move Bohemian Rhapsody into screenplay.
But that's the big question, though, is what it takes out.
For me, it'd be 8th Grade.
I'm desperate enough at this point that I took Vice out, and I already felt like really, really secure, and then I decided to take Vice out for A Quiet Place, and A Quiet Place getting in PGA really makes me confident in that. And then when WGA is what, tomorrow?
We need to know WGA immediately. WGA will give me confidence right now that Bohemian Rhapsody can get an original screenplay. If that happens,
with Bohemian Rhapsody getting in SAG and PGA, WGA will go for it if they're really, really going to go for it.
And the only thing it can't go for is DGA.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Oh, trust me.
Hi, Cassie.
I fear it might, and then people will really go, They might have to just make up a rule and just have to go with Dexter Fletcher and try and
See, it's
disavow
possible.
Bryan
If that
Singer.
happens, then maybe. Is Black Panther getting an adapted screenplay? Says Smurfy Boy.
It's not impossible. It's
No.
really impossible.
I have it right now, but I'm
It's
not
open
really confident.
considering Green Book is actually considered original, despite the fact it's based on true people. And I thought it was adapted from like a book anyway.
I've had Green Book and original since day one.
The thing also about Black Panther is, even if Beale Street Could Talk is really struggling through the guilds, I think we all still feel confident in it in an adapted screenplay.
Yeah,
But even with that, there's still that slot open.
it's true.
So, because I was saying it's either Leave No Trace or Crazy Rich Asians, but yeah, and especially, I think it was Ashley that reminded us recently about Logan last year. And it's like that pretty much opened up that, like, the barriers, the superhero barrier in adapted screenplay is knocked down now because of Logan.
True.
So nothing's really holding it back.
No.
You know what? I was actually starting to, because what happened as far as Black Panther goes is I had this real. I should probably wait for the prediction video to say this, but I'll just say it now since it's coming out already. I had the great pleasure of rewatching Black Panther just the other day, and I had some very similar feelings that I did last year. You remember when after I rewatched Get Out for like the 6th time or something, I said that I started to imagine Daniel Kaluuya's Oscar clips, and that's what convinced me that he was getting in, and sure enough, he obviously was. I started being able to count Michael B. Jordan's potential Oscar clips, quite honestly. Like the scene where he first takes the throne, his death scene, and it started coming together in a very similar to how I felt about Get Out coming together. And this kept like snowballing to me getting to Ryan Coogler. Which I'm not like, for sure going in that direction, at least yet, if I happen to. But I mean, if it's really going to do as much as some people have built it up that it might, I'd say that Fist Law and adapted screenplay is like almost practically a certainty. But that's just like, that could be reset too, because I just love Black Panther so much. And every time I rewatch it, it's like, I could totally see this doing amazing things.
I mean, it doesn't really help the fact that DGA won't be out before we do our Oscar predictions.
Yeah, that was way too long of an answer to is Black Panther getting an adapted screenplay, but that's that's what I'm thinking.
What happens? So, any more thoughts on the actual show itself?
I understand. This is going way back to the beginning. I totally understand where Andy Samberg was coming from, because remember how successful he was at the Franco roast, trying to do the anti-roast thing.
Right.
It's unfortunate that the second time didn't really work out for him because it worked so well at the Franco roast. But yeah, he probably should have tried something else there.
Well, speaking of forgetting about things, I totally glossed over the fact that, best drama went to Bohemian Rhapsody. We never mentioned that, so yes.
Well, the Rami Malek conversation kind of took us there anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Which AJ and myself went for A Star Is Born, which I was originally going to go with Black Panther. I wanted to go with Bohemian Rhapsody, but I was like, nah, I don't know if it'll happen or not. And then Ashley went with Black Klansman, and it went for Bohemian Rhapsody. So it's like the final score for the Golden Globes. AJ had 8. Ashley had 12. I had 6.
So to me, the question is, does Esquire drop their article or not? Because if they suddenly decide to release it now, does that that'll obviously kill Bohemian Rhapsody's momentum completely, won't it?
Not necessarily.
I'm sure it'll be released because everybody wants the drama for some reason.
Yeah, because apparently I was reading on Twitter today when I was bored. I looked around, and apparently there's people that are butthurt about jokes from Seinfeld and being offensive now.
Yeah, basically everybody missing the point that everybody in Seinfeld is meant to be unlikable, and that's like the joke.
Exactly. Cassie says the show was good, but it felt really long. Yes, 30 minutes, way too long. Swervy
Yeah.
Boy says, go ahead, AJ.
The Globes don't usually run over this much. This is more of an Oscar thing.
Yeah.
I think they didn't. I think they forgot to add in the runtime when they decided to do 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards.
That's true.
They did it in honor of New Japan running short.
I go with that.
Yeah.
Swervy Boy says, Beale Street, Black Klansman, Can You Ever Forgive Me? A Star is Born, and Black Panther replacing First Man.
Is that an adapted screenplay thing, or?
That's what it looks like, yes. Yeah, that's what he's got for adapted screenplay. I'm reading more in the chat.
It'll be very interesting to see what WGA says tomorrow. There may be something we're not even thinking about that's in contention.
It's true. Well, the fact remains is Green Book, Roma, and Bohemian Rhapsody all did great tonight.
Well, Roma got the clean sweep.
Yep.
It got. Oh no! Why is it saying 2?
Roma wasn't in picture.
Oh, no, because it didn't win screenplay. Yeah.
And then the question remains was, if they were able to nominate Roma for picture, would it have won?
I think with that, obviously, with next week being the Critics' Choice, we'll certainly see that because it's in. I think it's in foreign as well as main. Yeah.
But you know what's really funny though? Is if Roma was nominated and Roma won, we'd probably say something like, "So what do you think second place was?" None of us probably would have said Bohemian Rhapsody.
Much as I love that movie, I probably couldn't justify saying that.
I would honestly say, looking at the 10, if you will, I'd say Green Book and The Favourite were ahead of Bohemian Rhapsody at least.
Surely.
If not, many of the other ones. Because I think if there's enough public backlash against this Bohemian Rhapsody because of everything, it might sort of sway some of the Academy's voting. Because then, if we're supposed to have all this diverse change and then it turns out a film that is directed in inverted commas by an alleged child sex offender, it's not going to be a really good publicity thing for Oscars or the Academy. As somebody else noted on Twitter, 12 months ago, all the women were dressed in black because of Me Too and Time's Up. 12 months later, Bohemian Rhapsody wins an award with a director that may or may not have done most of the directing on it, but still has to be credited with all these allegations against him.
What killed James Franco last year?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that's going to be annoying, though, is there will be people that try to explain, but he was fired. But those people are going to be so drowned out by the outrage. So
he was fired, but he still had to be given credit.
No, I really hope that it doesn't kill Bohemian Rhapsody. It deserves to stand on its own. And I hope it continues to do well in the awards season. If anything, we have tonight.
It sort of, for this film, it's sort of nearly an accelerated version of any film that was done by Polanski or Woody Allen. Except that it took a long time for sort of the allegations to sort of actually come to some sort of resonance today. Whereas for Singer, it's 1 or 2 years maybe.
Surfy Boy says Bohemian Rhapsody winning might be a slap in the face to the Me Too movement.
Exactly. which is a shame because Malik's performance is worthy enough of award, but because of what it's connected to, it's like it's always an awkward thing to like go for, and that could stress the word could be the thing that goes against it in the future.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, especially since when you look at it after the fact, like that's the thing, is that he's credited, because even though he's credited, he still almost feels like so distant from it when you think about it.
With how much Dexter did on it, it's surprising that he isn't even given a co-director sort of deal.
Yeah, and it just like an executive producer credit or something.
Yeah, not even like screenplay like they did with Joss Whedon for Justice League. Although I still have to remind everybody that one of the worst films of the year, Robin Hood, was produced by Leonardo DiCaprio.
So I think that's our show.
God, if Robin Hood wins Worst Picture, is DiCaprio going to pick up the award?
I'm reading back to Twitter from last year that we all tied with 10 apiece for the Golden Globes last year.
Mm-hmm.
Which also means...
It means I brought back my trend from 2 years ago of actually doing well at the Globes. On previous history, that means AJ does well in everything else, and I do absolutely shit.
We'll see.
Well, we got TV categories in SAG that'll probably hold me back, but
and the Critics' Choice.
Speaking of Critics' Choice, we should have a podcast somewhere in the next couple days.
Yeah. Got to go through all of them.
We've got a podcast tomorrow, tonight, for the Monday Wrestling Podcast.
I swear Critics' Choice is just being a bitch on purpose because like some of the categories have got 8 now rather than 7. Damn it.
So that's our show. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thanks everybody that was able to join us in our live chat. And if you have any comments that you weren't able to make in live chat, feel free to leave it below the video below. And if you like what you're seeing, then like the actual video itself. We have a lot of really cool stuff coming with the network when it comes to award season. We're just getting started, folks. We literally just had our first award show tonight. And then we got our Critics' Choice podcast coming up with our actual predictions later this week. And then back next week for our Critics' Choice podcast. So, moving along in award season. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Ash is my name UK.
Ashley, long day. AJ cannot be found on social media, but if you'd like to leave him a message, you're more than welcome to do so. Comment below in the videos, or stay tuned with my Twitter at SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. You can ask him a question that way. We've got a new edition of Versus coming out, a new edition of AJ's movie reviews coming out in the near future. And Ashley's got a snack stash, which is going to be your video for technically yesterday or 2 days ago, since that's Saturday's video. This is coming out on Sunday. Like I said, we got the Monday Wrestling Podcast with a special guest, getting the band back together, if you know what I mean. That's going to be Monday. And then we're going to be doing our Critics' Choice Podcast in the next couple of days. Don't know if it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll have to let you guys know on my Twitter at SirOwenDisney for more information. So once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And until next week, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Yay, I actually won for a change.